How did Floyd Mayweather make $1 billion and go broke? Legendary athletes are finally exposing everything.
He had $500,000 a day splurges.
Yeah.
Is that sustainable? He had multiple business ventures that failed. He had the lifestyle.
He spends so much money.
Bro got sued for $330K in unpaid rent by his own New York landlord. The IRS slapped him with a $7.3 million tax lien. A jeweler came after him for $1.4 million in chains and watches. And now he's dragging his own team to court for stealing $174 million. The man who built the money brand is now chasing money in court. And the people who watched him live, legends who were in the rooms, on the planes, at the fights, they saw exactly how it happened.
Exactly what's happened to Floyd Mayweather right now, unfortunately, because he made a lot of money, but the secret to being successful is keeping it.
And they're finally talking.
Get out of a situation like that where you're constantly borrowing against your own stuff and using the stuff that you're borrowing against in other loans.
The first person to say something publicly and credibly was the last person you'd expect. Let's kick off with 10-time world champion Oscar De La Hoya, probably the most credible voice in boxing to speak on Floyd's collapse, without it just being clout chasing. These two had the biggest fight of 2007, one of the most culturally loaded rivalries the sport has ever produced. That beef single-handedly dragged boxing back into mainstream conversation and birthed the entire Money Mayweather villain era. Floyd mocked De La Hoya with the Golden Girl chicken stunt, stole his actual gym bag.
He stole my bag, took my belongings, a few books I had in there, my boxing gloves. I'm a professional.
Then showed up to the fight in full Cinco de Mayo, colors specifically to piss off Oscar's fan base. After the fight, both men launched rival promotion companies and kept the war going off canvas. But even through all that, it was clear these were two legends who understood the sport better than almost anyone.
Love his patience. I love the fact that he's a hard hitter and he has a chin. See, people discredit him for not having a chin. He has a chin.
But in a recent interview, Oscar said the lifestyle spending didn't even concern him. The jewelry, the cars, none of that. What actually bothered him was the people, the ones Floyd chose to hand his money to.
Then you have to hire people, you have to hire lawyers, you have to hire agents. So now you have all these people around you, right? And sometimes, and most likely, you hire people that eventually turn on you. It happens all the time. And it's a shame that...
And honestly, that observation is way more accurate than people realize. Because we're about to get into a surprising situation where Mayweather signed away ownership of his most prized private jet without reading a single line of the contract. Just took his money manager's word for it. The same money manager he is now actively suing in court. Yes, his former rival was nice enough about it. Joe Rogan, though, thought it was legitimately insane.
But you know what? What's crazy is
30 days, 30 watches.
If we add 10 more days, I'd take 10 more watches.
Jesus Christ.
It is.
But then I say, fuck it. If I want to bring out the one and only, then I bring out the watch that costs $18 million.
Joe Rogan's reaction to the $8 million watch purchase was pretty much pure shock. And honestly, the concern makes sense. You can cross the $1 billion mark and still leave your grandchildren with nothing if the habits don't change. And on top of that, customizing jewelry the way Floyd does actually reduces the resale value. You're not adding to what you built. You're quietly chipping away at it. But it got so concerning that some legendary athletes had to physically sit down for this. You see, Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, former NFL star Ocho Cinco, and former NBA player ISO Joe Johnson all felt the need to weigh in and look into the situation themselves. Because honestly, the numbers are hard to sit with. Floyd made the money. Nobody disputes that. But the spending was operating on a completely different level. Dude bet $5.9 million on a single NBA game. A sustained stretch where $100,000 a week was just the baseline gambling budget. Reports suggest he lost $100 million in gambling in a single year, the same year someone walked out of his house with $7 million worth of jewelry. But what really set everyone off was the amount he was pouring into jewelry alone.
Ocho.
Yeah.
$100 million in jewelry, Ocho.
But hey, Uncle, it's Money Mayweather, Unc. It's Money Mayweather. He had a image to uphold.
Ocho Cinco said it plain. Signing blank contracts is a hard no, because you are literally just gifting your financial power to whoever is holding that document.
Young bull, man. I hate this for my young bull, Floyd. Hopefully this situation gets rectified, especially when it comes to having people around you, having other people in control of your finances. That's a no-no, Unc. Joe, that's a no-no.
And Floyd did exactly that with his jet. Oscar de la Hoya's take on that was to have people constantly checking and auditing your money managers. Because the second you stop watching the watchers, that's when everything goes sideways.
Check the checker. You know, the checker checks the checker. I always live by that rule. If I'm gonna hire somebody who's gonna look out for my finances, I've had my finance guy for 25 years, the same guy. And there's a reason for that, because somebody else is checking him and somebody else is checking that other guy. So you have to be smart here.
But there is a lot people casually skip in the Mayweather conversation, and I genuinely don't understand why. First, let's admit the obvious. Mayweather actually built $1.2 billion in career earnings. 50 professional fights, 50 wins, 0 losses. A record that still has no comparison in any major weight class. At some point, when the Philly shell keeps working and the pull counter keeps landing, luck stops being an explanation. This dude monetized the science of not getting hit and stacked $1 billion doing it. We are talking about a man who woke up at 3 a.m. to run road work just to get his money up. But Floyd, being Floyd, built his entire brand around being the villain people desperately wanted to see fall. Fans would throw real money just for the possibility of watching someone hand him his first L. Genuinely one of the smartest marketing moves in sports history. But the problem is, he didn't just play the villain for the cameras. He started playing it in his actual life too, slowly working against everything he built. And the people speaking up about it aren't coming from a place of hate. These are colleagues, people inside the sport, who watched it up close and got genuinely concerned. Gervonta Davis isn't exactly singing his praises these days, yet he was close enough to Floyd to let some pretty eye-opening details slip. But former NFL quarterback Cam Newton had a lot to say, and Bro did not hold back. First, he drops this wild detail about how Floyd spends his money that nobody's really talking about. So, apparently, Mayweather color codes entire car fleets by city to match the city vibe. Well, I don't mean one car per city. Mayweather builds out an entire garage. Las Vegas gets the all-white collection because it matches the flash of Sin City. LA and Beverly Hills? All black everything. He literally calls them his Sweet 16. Miami has the bright tropical colors to fit the resort aesthetic. This man built a whole system around his drip locations.
But we don't have nobody to hold us accountable to say, hey, dog, why would you spend so much money on the same car?
And they get it so fast.
What sense does that make?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, what dollars does that make?
But then it gets actually dark. Cam Newton also put people onto the fact that Floyd Mayweather is currently facing 2 felony charges in Las Vegas. The allegations? Writing a bad check to buy a $200,000 Audemars Piguet watch. Clark County prosecutors hit him with theft and passing a check with intent to defraud. 2 felonies for a watch. Think about it. This man made over $1 billion and is now facing felony charges over a watch he apparently couldn't cover. Newton basically said this was an easy fix. If Floyd weren't so loudly showing off his money every single day, the bounced checks probably wouldn't be public. When people think you'll never run out of money, taking advantage of you starts to feel like no big deal to them.
When you depict that type of lifestyle, brother,
Yeah.
it just gives people The thought to say, man, must be nice.
Must be nice.
But what it'll be a thing if that runs out.
Okay, but context is literally everything here. This man was once the highest paid athlete on the planet, and he grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with 7 people crammed into a 1-bedroom with no electricity and no heat. His mom was battling crack addiction, and his dad got locked up for drug trafficking when Floyd was 16. Like, when you actually sit with that, the spending hits different. He wasn't just being flashy. Dude was genuinely out here trying to fill a void that started in childhood.
He couldn't play basketball because he might go up for a jumper and come down wrong on the knee. He never got to eat candy. He just missed out on so much. What the public see right now from Floyd is him being that child that he never really got to be.
I've heard so many.
All right, let's talk about the cars, because this list is genuinely not real. 5 Bugattis, 16 Rolls Royces, not 1, not 2, 16. Each one starting around $300,000 before he even picked a color. Every single one of his 33 Mercedes-Benzes came from the same dealership, because when you're Mayweather, you pick a guy and you commit. And that dealership won the lottery. There was a Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita in that fleet, worth $8 million, one of only 3 ever built on the entire planet, plus 2 LaFerraris that Ferrari personally vets buyers for before allowing the sale. Peak fleet value climbed above $40 million, and he employed someone full-time just to clean every vehicle in that collection every single day. The jewelry ran just as deep. Total collection valued above $50 million. But you probably know of his $18 million watch carrying 260 carats of emerald-cut diamonds.
That fucking watch, how much is that watch, man? I gotta ask, man.
Oh, that one?
Huh?
Oh, that's 18 million.
18 million?
18 million?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Get the camera, get that. 18 million?
Where the camera?
So this is one of the most extravagant pieces that Jacob & Co. has ever produced. The kind of thing that belongs in a vault or on Floyd's wrist and nowhere else. He never left the house with less than $5 million in jewelry on his body.
How much is this?
$1.8 million.
$1.8 million watch.
$1.8 million, dude?
You're the first to sue.
That's insane. That
1.8 is high. 18 life.
that happy birthday, champ.
The daily spending was equally specific and equally staggering. A private chef billing $1,000 per meal. Not per day, not per week, per individual plate. $12,000 every single week at one Japanese steakhouse in Las Vegas, which math fans will clock as $624,000 a year just at one restaurant. Dude wears his shoes once and does the same with his underwear. His former assistant, Tasha Robinson White, didn't speculate about any of this. She wrote it down in her book, confirmed it publicly, and said Floyd bought cars the way most families buy eggs, 12 at a time. She also put the checking account number in writing, $125 million in cash sitting liquid in a checking account, like it was nothing. The kid who grew up with no electricity in Grand Rapids somehow ended up as the man who kept $125 million just around.
What sense does that make? Matter of fact, what dollars does that make? Because understand, we talking about cents with an S, but we should be talking about cents with a C.
Yeah.
Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen, because that was a bar in its own right. A lot of people always think, man, when a lot of money come in, that means a lot of money should go out. No.
Now, Iron Mike stayed suspiciously quiet on the whole Floyd spending situation. In a street interview, he basically said Floyd should have a ball.
Spending a lot of money right now.
Have a ball.
Enjoy it, huh? That's what you do. Hey, dude, you're a legend, man. It's good seeing you.
Okay, Mike, we see you, considering you burned through your own fortune and went bankrupt. So maybe not the best guy to be handing out financial advice right now. But another boxer who lived that reckless spending life has been far more generous with the lessons learned. Evander Holyfield has openly expressed concern about Floyd's flashy, exorbitant lifestyle. Holyfield earned $250 million over his career.
Right, because you made over $230 million in the course of your career. $250 million.
His biggest paydays came from those blockbuster heavyweight fights in the 1990s, particularly his 2 bouts against Tyson, with one fight alone generating $35 million. And he lost virtually all of it. His 54,000 square foot Georgia mansion was foreclosed. He filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Estimated net worth today, roughly $1 million. Holyfield didn't look at Floyd's pattern and see recklessness. He recognized it as a predictable outcome of a very specific kind of trauma. The desire to spend, to visibly enjoy success, to exist loudly at the top as a black man who built everything from nothing. Holyfield understood that impulse personally. He also understood where it leads, because he had already lived the ending. And it wasn't worth it. And Holyfield is far from the only one who saw this coming, because some of the loudest warnings and the harshest receipts came from the people who were sitting closest to Floyd's money in the first place. Start with Curtis Jackson. You know him as 50 Cent. Before these two turned into bitter rivals who snipe at each other on Instagram for sport, 50 and Floyd were genuinely close. Business partners in the late 2000s, back when 50 was helping shape the whole money era. Then, around 2012, the friendship blew up over, what else? Money. 50 says that while Floyd was locked up on a misdemeanor domestic battery case, he stepped in to help run Floyd's boxing promotion, signed fighters, kept the machine moving, and then never got paid his cut. To this day, 50 claims Floyd owes him around $2 million. Floyd sees it completely differently, but that fallout turned 50 Cent into the single most relentless critic of how Floyd handles his finances. And he's not some random hater shouting from the outside. 50 has long claimed he was one of the real architects behind the whole money era. And even UFC boss Dana White has backed up that it was 50 Cent who first convinced him a Mayweather versus McGregor fight was actually realistic. So when this particular critic talks about Floyd's money, he's talking as a guy who helped build the machine. And here's why it actually matters. 50 didn't just troll for laughs. For years, he publicly begged Floyd to stop signing things he didn't read, and to get out from under his longtime advisor, Al Heyman. That whole running reading challenge bit, where 50 dared Floyd to read a paragraph out loud, sounds cruel, but buried underneath it was a real point. If you don't read your own contracts, you are handing the pen to whoever does. Now fast forward to 2026, when Floyd files that giant lawsuit against Showtime, alleging he was cheated out of hundreds of millions funneled through Heyman's accounts. 50 Cent reacted exactly how you'd expect. He posted, in his own words, that he had told Floyd to let him read the contracts. And now look what happened. To 50, this wasn't a shock. It was a prophecy he'd been yelling for over a decade. He kept piling on, too. When Floyd went on Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show and claimed he owns over 100 buildings, 99% of them in New York City, 50 publicly called it cap, and joked that if Floyd really lived in New York, the tax man would be coming for well over half of everything he made. He's even alleged Floyd was reduced to pawning off valuables, claiming at one point that someone tried to sell him an $80,000 gold goblet that looked exactly like one Floyd used to drink from. Floyd never confirmed any of it. Now you have to take 50 with a grain of salt. This is a man who turns every feud into content, and he's got 2 million of his own reasons to want Floyd to look broke. But here's the uncomfortable part. The exact thing he warned about for years, signing what you don't read and trusting the wrong people with the paperwork, is almost word for word what Floyd is now alleging happened to him in court. Then there's Logan Paul, and this one is fresh. Back in June 2021, Floyd fought Logan in that massive exhibition at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. 8 rounds, no winner declared, but an absolute money printer. For years, everyone assumed Logan walked away rich. According to Logan himself, not so much. In March 2026, on the Iced Coffee Hour podcast, Paul opened up about what he says really happened with the money, and it lines up uncomfortably well with everything else here. Paul claims Floyd pre-sold the rights to their fight to a company somewhere around Dubai for $10 million in cash, using Logan's name and likeness to seal the deal. Then, Paul says, the fight actually got staged in the United States, and this isn't some grievance he just cooked up either. Back in 2021 and 2022, he was already telling reporters that Floyd had shorted him on the pay-per-view money and that he might have to take it to court. Years later, nothing has changed except the size of Floyd's legal pile. To be fair, Floyd has not responded to Logan's specific claims, and Paul admits he hasn't even checked the status of that other lawsuit. But step back and look at the shape of it. A guy fights Floyd in the single biggest spectacle of his life. And years later, he's on a podcast shrugging about $1.5 million he doubts he'll ever collect. The money brand was supposed to mean the checks always clear. More and more people are quietly saying that, with Floyd, they didn't. But if you want the most haunting voice in all of this, it isn't a rival or a YouTuber, it's Floyd's own protege, Adrian Broner. For a stretch, Broner was supposed to be the next Floyd. He copied the shoulder roll defense, copied the brash villain act, and, this is the key part, copied the spending too. He literally named his promotional company About Billions. He came up through the same system Floyd did, advised by the same Al Heyman, fighting on the same big Showtime cards for 7-figure purses. If anyone had a front row seat to how this world handles a young fighter's money, it was Broner. And Broner has become the cautionary tale Floyd's critics point straight at. By most reporting, he earned somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 million across his career. Today, estimates put his net worth down in the low 6 figures, sometimes pegged near $100,000. The lowest point went viral. Standing in a Cleveland courtroom in 2020, Broner told the judge he had about $13 to his name. He leaned all the way into it afterward, calling himself a $13-billionaire and asking fans to cash app him $13 at a time to chip away at a roughly $800,000 debt. On top of that, by various reports, he's been juggling a string of lawsuits and somewhere around $17,000 a month in child support for 10 kids. The kind of overhead that can turn even a real payday into money that's already gone before it lands. Here's the part that should make Floyd nervous. On a podcast, Broner described exactly how his money got managed. How Heyman's camp would, by his account, drip it out to him. $2,500 a day, then $2,000, then $1,500. Because if a big lump sum ever hit his account at once, the government or his own lawsuits would garnish it before sunrise. That's the same financial ecosystem, advised by the same man, that Floyd is now accusing in court of quietly steering his fortune into accounts he didn't control. And Broner has said the quiet part out loud about Floyd's billion directly. On the Round Daw Way podcast, asked point blank whether Floyd actually cleared $1 billion in his career, Broner said Al Heyman told him personally that Floyd touched over $1 billion. But then he added the line that hangs over this entire video. Does he still have it now? That, Broner admitted, is a whole different argument, one he couldn't answer. The two have feuded plenty. There was the time Floyd publicly clowned Broner for throwing his change in the air at a Walmart. And Broner fired back that Floyd was a hypocrite who'd spent years burning stacks in nightclubs at 34, 35 years old. But strip out the beef, and Broner is something more uncomfortable than a hater. He's a preview. He's what it can look like a few years down the road when a fighter built in Floyd's exact image, by Floyd's exact people, runs the spending playbook all the way to the final page. Floyd drew up the blueprint. Broner just reached the last page first. Now, in fairness, Floyd is not sitting back and quietly accepting the broke narrative. He is fighting it about as hard as he ever fought anybody in the ring. When a Business Insider reporter published a story in 2025 questioning whether a $402 million New York real estate deal Floyd had bragged about ever actually happened, Floyd didn't just deny it. He turned around and reportedly hit the outlet with a $100 million defamation lawsuit, insisting the holdings and the money are very real. He's also flooded social media with proof-of-life flexes, filming himself strolling through garages stuffed with brand-new supercars, a McLaren, a Porsche, a Ferrari, and a Mercedes-Benz sedan he says is one of only 99 on the entire planet, all but daring the doubters to keep calling him broke. He's even reportedly pulled up his actual bank balance for other fighters to see. Unified champion Teofimo Lopez, after getting a look at the numbers, supposedly blurted out that he'd never seen figures like that in his life. So this is not a man conceding a single inch. To Floyd, every "is he broke" headline is just more free attention, and the cars and the balance are his receipts. And honestly, it's the same kind of flex that set 50 Cent off in the first place. The buildings, the hundreds of millions in property. Which is exactly why it matters that people this close to him keep looking at those numbers and saying, "Prove it." But here's the tension that makes this whole story so strange. You can be genuinely, enormously rich and still be hemorrhaging money in ways a garage tour will never show. Owning a 99-of-a-kind car and being out $500 million you say somebody took from you are not opposites. In fact, that exact combination is precisely what Floyd is alleging right now. The supercar video and the lawsuit are coming from the same man at the same time. The flex says, "I'm fine." The lawsuits say, "They robbed me." Both can't fully be true, and Floyd is the one telling us both. So put it all together. A former best friend who warned him about the contracts. A crossover opponent who says the check never fully cleared. A protege who watched the same money machine hollow out his own account. For years, it was all just talk, just jabs, just podcast gossip. And then, starting in 2026, Floyd Mayweather walked the whole thing into a courtroom and made the accusations his own. But things got really crazy in May 2026, as Floyd filed a bombshell lawsuit in New York, claiming his former business manager Jonah Rechnitz and associate Isle Frist siphoned $175 million. Cash, real estate proceeds, jewelry, loan money, settlement funds, the works. Rechnitz apparently earned Floyd's trust around 2017, and by 2024 had quietly positioned himself as his de facto investment manager, redirecting funds into accounts he personally controlled. He was also the same guy who got Floyd to unknowingly sign away his jet. To be clear, those are Floyd's allegations in a court filing. Nothing has been proven, and neither Rechnitz nor Frist has been found liable of anything. Months earlier, Floyd filed a separate $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former Showtime Sports president Steven Espinoza, alleging fight earnings were diverted to accounts controlled by advisor Al Heyman rather than Floyd directly. Combined, that's $515 million in missing money being chased through courts simultaneously. Paramount, which now owns Showtime, has publicly rejected the suit as baseless and says it will fight the claims through the court process. But here's where the sympathy gets complicated. Floyd promoted crypto schemes that cost fans $25 million in losses across 2017, and he did that again in 2021. He also used Logan Paul's likeness to pre-sell their 2021 exhibition fight without paying Paul his $1.5 million while legends lined up to warn him. He was tossing $10,000 to $20,000 at clubs, funding $100,000 strip contest prizes, stuffing duffel bags with cash. The warnings were ignored. Now the ship is sinking, and honestly, we can't help but just watch. But if you want to see how his spending compares to the legendary Manny Pacquiao, that video on your screen covers it in full detail. See you there.